I have a problem of losing control over things I like.
Okay.
Okay. So when it
Give
came
me an
to drugs,
example.
when it came to drugs, I would overdo it. I can't do it. In limits.
Achha.
Now, keep aside, hard drugs. Keep aside, drugs. Let's say alcohol. I like doing alcohol, but then I cannot do it in limit.
Okay.
So that is my problem. I lose control over. Now that I'm not taking alcohol and I'm not taking drugs, it's an effort for me not to go overboard with coffee,
Okay.
with cigarettes,
Okay.
with biryani.
Okay.
Why can't I just settle for one plate? Why will I have to go for like 3 plates?
Okay.
I mean, that is the problem. You know what I mean? Now I don't anymore, but
And is that a conscious effort that is
no,
there
it is not.
exercise
It's
you
a
do
very
or-
compulsive, obsessive, way of approaching anything I like. I end up overdoing it. I'm hungry.
Is it also about relationship? If you love someone,
It is also about that, yes. So it is about if you're working on your obsession and you consider that to be a problem, and you realize it reflects in every area of your life, in relationships for sure, and everywhere it causes damage, right? I mean, it doesn't really help. So and then it is once you're cleaned up, then it is no more about the drugs or alcohol. Then it is about your lifestyle and your behavior.
Gotta find me a place in the sun. I know.
নমস্কার, আদাব, হ্যালো অ্যান্ড ওয়েলকাম টু আ নিউ এপিসোড অফ লেজারলি বাতেন। আমার সাথে আজকে আছে শমিক চ্যাটার্জি।
Hi.
শমিক, কেমন আছো?
ভালো চলছে।
How has life treated you so far?
I would say good.
Any regrets or anything? Any realization?
Not really.
Has there
Life
been
is good. Life is good. The way I look at it today, if you had asked me this question 10 years back, 20 years back, I would have probably said something else. But if you ask me now, I think life is great.
কখনো কোনো রিয়েলাইজেশন হয়েছে? মানে অনেকের লাইফে এটা হয় না যে আমরা সবাই একটা জার্নির মধ্যে দিয়ে যাই, রাইট? যে দ্য প্রসেস অফ ডিসকভারি। সো অ্যাজ আ if I see your LinkedIn profile, it says entrepreneur, musician, film publicist. Tell me a little bit about your journey till this point, right? From Shamik, a young man or young boy trying to discover with or without ambition, leading into these three things that are there on your LinkedIn profile today.
It's a short question, but it's a very, very long question as well. I don't know. It is like I'm not ambitious at all. That is one thing. I was never ambitious. I was never really goal and money oriented in the sense, in a good way. I mean, I was never, and which is, I think, is a bad thing. One should be, because money is important at the end of the day, and the kind of family I come from, where money was not really the highlight ever, which is again a good thing, because so I'm still not ambitious, which is okay. I mean, there are one doesn't really mind having money, but when you don't have it, or when you wish you want to buy something really nice for yourself, and in my case it's mostly equipment, gadgets. I just recently bought an M4. They really have right now really obsessive over it. I'm like spending like the whole day with it, and I'm like getting it up. I'm like downloading fonts and downloading apps. I'm like really doing the laptop up. So because I was not ambitious, I was really not doing anything which I was doing for as a career choice or for making money. But it somehow fell into a place where it became the job I do, the work I do professionally, and I started making a little money from it. You know, and even now I make some money from it. I don't make a lot of money, and as I said, because I'm not ambitious, I really don't run after a lot of pitch, a lot of fetching clients, a lot of I don't have targets really. It's pretty easy going in the sense, I have a small setup with a very, very cozy, very talented team, and I'm very happy the way it is, and I keep hearing this, and I keep, I do workshops, I attend workshops, and I talk to other business owners, and they keep telling, people, you have to retain them, and, you need to give them financial promises and growth, and I don't know, I mean, I look at a setup in a very different way. So for me, it's more like, let's do some good work together, and money will follow. And money has followed, but Kolkata, it's a little slow, and it's a little difficult in terms of, work ethics and, financial commitments.
Right.
When it comes to payments and follow-up. It's a little difficult, and if I had spent like my 25 years, it's not a regret, but I could have structured things differently if it was in Bombay, because the prospects are better.
And also, like, as an entrepreneur, and I can relate when you said like about the payments, it is a big challenge. I mean, cash flows can sometimes hurt you. I mean, you could be doing a lot of good work. মানে ব্যবসাও আসছে, সবই হচ্ছে, কিন্তু cash flow যদি ঠিক না হয়, it hurts.
It does.
So anyway, please continue.
Yeah. So it was like that. So for me, it was pretty much, I started full-fledged. I started working from 2002, really.
Right.
And I opened this setup called Grinning Tree with my wife, and since then I've been doing this for almost like 23 years now.
Right.
And when I started, I really, my agenda was to, stay productive, because I was coming from such a place where I wasted almost 12 years of my life after a very, it was, I had a addiction problem, alcoholism and addiction problem, and I really, when I really turned around, and when I thought that, this, my back is against the wall, and I have to really do something now. And when I cleaned up in 2000 for the first time, I really didn't know what to do, where to go, or how to start. Because for last 12 years, all I did was a lot of dark things, unsocial things, and I was not really part of the society. I was I was not in the mainstream. So I really had no experience. I had no skill.
Right.
I had skills, but I never really polished them, or I never really nurtured them. So when I turned, when I started, I knew nothing. I didn't even know where to start from. And then I didn't have any agenda again. So I just started doing whatever little I knew. I knew I had a knack for designing. I used to paint T-shirts when I was in college. I used to do fabric. তখন তো অনেক কিছু available তখন ছিল না. We used to make our own favorite band logos. I used to paint them on denim, and I used to paint them on jacket backs. I used to sell them. So কিছু স্কিল সেখান থেকে ডিজাইনিং একটা অ্যাসপিরেশন ছিল। তো সেখান থেকে I started doing work. এবারে gradually যেটা হয়, I'm a little all over the place kind of a person in my head. I'm not very one job kind of a guy. I like doing, I like multitasking in a way.
Right.
Which now people say it's not a good thing. It's a very anxious thing.
I think it's good, because if you have an interest in multiple things.
I'll tell you a very interesting story.
And I'm also kind of like that. So
দেখো আমি তোমাকে এখন বলছি মানে I'm glad I am a person who is into multitasking, but now that I'm 49, you know, 49 বছর বয়স, এখন আমি মাল্টিটাস্কিং এটা অন্যভাবে দেখি। মানে I really, you know, do I really want that anxiety anymore? It's a choice now. So I really don't want that anxiety, you know, anymore in a big way. I mean, এখন ঠিক আছে, if I don't multitask, it's okay. Right? By choice, I don't multitask. When I'm talking incident বলছি, you know, few months back, I went to Pondicherry, and comparatively, it's a slower city though.
Right.
So, and I really like, you know, the lifestyle part of it, people, you know, than the lifestyle.
Right.
So we were going a little far away. You know, we were just taking a drive around the city. There was this driver, and I thought I'll keep him engaged in a conversation. And I was like, and after like, and I really don't talk a lot. I'm not a very talkative person in terms of, you know, in a social context or with people. I don't. I'm talking now so much because I've been asked to talk. Otherwise, I really don't. So, so this guy parked the car, and he told me, "Sir," he just came like that. He said, "Sir, I can only do one thing at a time. When I'm driving, sir, I really cannot talk." And you know, I thought that was super. That was fascinating. That was like, you know, and it was such a. There was so much of clarity in thought, you know, when he said that, because that is how he likes, you know, spending his day. You know, he doesn't want to multitask. Maybe he can, but
it's his choice.
It's a choice, and I totally get it because today I don't like waking up in the morning with like 50 thoughts, you know, passing through my head. I don't like it anymore. You know, I like.
It's not an easy thing to do, also.
It gets a little tiring after a point of time. Now it's a choice. I like the quiet. I do meditation. I do spend a lot of time meditating. I have slowed down really. For me, you know, because I told you addiction is a problem, you know, and alcoholism is a problem. And if you actually, you know, do a little bit of study on this addiction and alcoholism, you realize, you know, it is, you know, the substance or the drugs or the you know, alcohol or the heroin or the the substance is not the problem. It is you know, it is a minuscule of the entire problem, and the problem lies in your behavior and lifestyle primarily.
So if I take a step back, your, you know, the introduction to your addiction or to, you know, you consuming drugs, how did it happen? Is it because you were, you know, suffering from some mental health thing or some anxiety, or, you know, এটা কোন বয়স থেকে হলো তোমার?
এটা এখন ওরকম ভাবে তুমি এক্স্যাক্টলি পিনপয়েন্ট করা ডিফিকাল্ট। আমি অনেক ভাবে, মানে আই হ্যাভ স্পোকেন টু থেরাপিস্টস এন্ড you know, spoken to my counselors. I do talk to them regularly. I do go for AA and NA meetings. So এখানে ওটা পিনপয়েন্ট করা খুব ডিফিকাল্ট, কিন্তু তোমার it seems that, you know, মানে before even you had your first joint or you had your first dope or you know, had your first mood altering substance, the addiction was already there. And as I said, it was a behavior. It is a behavior thing, right? So you know, I have a problem of losing control over things I like doing.
Okay.
So when it
Give
came
me
to
an
drugs,
example.
when it came to drugs, I would overdo it. I can't do it, you know, in limits. Now, keep aside, you know, hard drugs. Keep aside, you know, drugs. Let's say alcohol. I like doing alcohol, but then I cannot do it in limit.
Okay.
So that is my problem. I lose control over. Now that I'm not taking alcohol and I'm not taking drugs, you know, it's an effort for me not to go overboard with coffee.
Okay.
With cigarettes.
Okay.
With biryani, you know.
Okay.
Why can't I just, you know, settle for one plate? Why will I have to go for like 3 plates?
Okay.
I mean, that is the problem. You know what I mean? Now I don't anymore, but you know.
And is that a conscious effort? That is
no, it is not. It's a very compulsive, obsessive, you know, way of approaching anything I like. I end up overdoing it. You know, I'm hungry.
Is it also about relationship? If you love someone, you know.
It is also about that, yes. So it is about, if you're working on your obsession and you consider that to be a problem, and you realize it reflects in every area of your life. I mean, in relationships for sure. And every everywhere it causes damage, right? I mean, it doesn't really help.
Right.
So, and then it is, once you've cleaned up, then it is no more about the drugs or alcohol. Then it is about your lifestyle and your behavior.
Okay.
And your ecosystem and your surroundings and your people you're dealing with on a daily basis. Your loved ones and your parents and your family and your friends. And I mean, you cannot, I cannot, remain an self-obsessed, remain self-obsessed, selfish, impatient, intolerant, all kinds of, bad things kind of a guy. I can't.
Anxiety,
anxiety তো হয় কিন্তু primarily এই behavioral disorder গুলোকে in place করাটাই becomes the primary issue there.
Correct.
Because then drugs is gone now. Now alcohol is gone. I'm not doing it anymore.
Right.
Now how do you ঠিক হয়ে গেল but ঠিক হয় না.
How do you keep yourself?
How do you rehabilitate yourself?
Rehabilitate, that's the right
That is the word, right?
That is the right
That is the word. Because if you actually now talk about rehabilitation center, that is what you are actually made to go through. Because the moment you enter the center, your drugs are off. That means you're clean. So why stay for like a month? Why stay for 6 months? What do you think?
But when you go there, when you say drugs are off, is it a slow process? It's a gradual process?
No, there it is like off
suddenly
from
one day
they'll
and you have withdrawal symptoms.
And you have medicines. You have docs in medicines and and
there are like remedies for that
medicines, absolutely
medicines
allopathy medicines,
right.
And you call that the detox, right? You go through the detoxification process, and then once you normalize your sleep and your eating habits, because everything is haywire when you quit, because you can't eat, your system is really acting up, you're getting fever, your stomach is not good. And you're getting tremors, and your pressure is going completely, going up and down.
Do you feel helpless?
That is a medical condition, really. I mean, that's really a medical condition. And once you're over that, so your drugs, your intake of consumption of alcohol or drugs stops right then, from that day. But then you're on medication. And then you're on medication and you're normalizing basic things, and it takes like say over 10 to 15 days. And then you're like settling in. But now what? Now it's not that your addiction is gone. Then the actual rehabilitation process starts really.
Right.
Then the work is about
working with yourself. Yeah.
And
I think that is the pretty much primary for everything, right? আমাদের ছোটবেলাও যদি দেখো এই যে অনেক সময় মতো না ও পড়াশোনায় ভালো এই পড়াশোনায় খারাপ ওটা তো it's a matter of attention if I have to look back at it now, right? I mean, I didn't pay that attention, I was not that interested, that's why did not put that effort, right?
Correct.
And then that was the ramification, I did not do well.
Correct.
But সেটারই মানে একটা consequence এমন ভাবে লোকে বলতো, but it all boils down to how you manage your mind, right?
Absolutely. আর যেটা হয় মানে self awareness is something which is so important, na? Because মানে যেটা তুমি নর্মাল মানে ডেইলি লিভিং মানে অন্য লোকেদের মধ্যেও দেখবে আর কি মানে ইট ইজ মানে I see people who are doesn't really necessarily have addiction problem or anyway that kind of a problem, but
they have some kind of OCD, they have some kind of disorder
absolutely
control, obsession, by the way,
yes, obsessing over
anger,
yes,
huge things. And do you think leading into this আমি যেটা জিজ্ঞেস করছি যে do you think even today, are kids in school taught enough about how to manage the mind? Because what you are effectively is a ramification of how you manage your mind or your thoughts.
I wouldn't say directly it is addressed, but some schools are trying. Some schools are really trying to give attention towards mental health issues, and they are separately addressing it. They have counselors in school, but I think they are trying, but it's really, and again, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and again, it's about a generation thing, right? It's a completely different generation, and their point of views are really different, and their social situation is really different from the time when we were kids. So I see there are many problems, with my daughter, and there are problems, and it should be dealt with properly. It should be very carefully dealt with. I would say yes. And if you ask me, in my school, no, my school was absolutely about merit and studies, and there was
Kolkata?
St. Lawrence.
St. Lawrence,
So there was not really no focus on any of this.
St. Lawrence is good in sports also.
Yeah. We have
football
আমাদের
team,
বিশাল মাঠ, আমরা প্রচুর খেলতাম, আমি হকি খেলতাম,
আচ্ছা,
আমি টেবিল টেনিস খেলতাম,
বাহ,
so it was lovely. Yes.
জামাত ছিল ডন বস্কো।
Oh, that's what you had a hockey team.
We had a hockey, cricket, soccer team. It was good, pretty all round আমাদের ছিল।
তোমাদের তো বড় মাঠ আছে।
বড় মাঠ ছিল পেছনে, হ্যাঁ।
I like Don Bosco. It's a guy, one of my
We had a
favorites. St.
good,
James.
আমাদের Bosco beat was quite
আমি
famous.
participate করি।
বাজিয়েছে, good. So how did music come into your life?
Music was there.
Achha.
Baba used to play the Hawaiian guitar. I
Achha.
lost my father when I was very young. So when I came into my senses, I had access to LPs and vinyls and piano and instruments, and I would hear stories about their leisure time, how they would sing and play with friends, and I guess I had my first LP was দুটো অ্যালবাম, ইংরেজি অ্যালবাম, রবীন্দ্রসঙ্গীত, মানে রবীন্দ্রসঙ্গীত তো সবই ছিল প্রায় আর কি, all the dance drama, অডিও, তোমার আধুনিক গান অনেক ছিল। আমার প্রথম ইংরেজি এলপি মানে আমার বাবার কালেকশনের থেকে was হ্যারি বেলাফন্টে's তোমার I think the island, something island, and there was a Cliff Richard greatest hits or something.
Right.
So those two were my first introduction to ইংরেজি গান.
Right.
And so তারপর it's been quite a journey আর কি তোমার, and then I got a guitar, and then I started playing for the school band, and but then again I never really pursued it as a career option.
But কখনো ভেবেছিলে this will be your could be a profession, or you wanted to make
Not
this
really. It just happened that I have played for projects which has been commercially viable and successful, but আমি ওটাকে একদম pursue করিনি কোনোদিনও professionally আর কি।
And what led you to one of the things how I discovered you, Deeptangshu, Arko, was through your band Fiddler's Green. And it really I still listen to the folk fusion, especially the baul fusion যেগুলো যে তোমাদের একজন গায়িকা ছিলেন দীপান্বিতা, I really love those sessions, things. So how did Fiddler's Green come in? How did you guys get this going? এদের সবার সাথে আলাপ হলো কি করে?
আলাপ হলো আমি ইউরোপে অনেকদিন চিনতাম, অর্ক জিতাংশুকে চিনতো, আমি অর্ককে চিনতাম। ফিডলার্স গ্রিনের আগে আমার আর অর্কর একটা স্ট্রেঞ্জ ফ্যাক্টরি বলে ব্যান্ড ছিল,
আচ্ছা,
আমার অর্ক আর আদার মেম্বার্স। এবার ওই ফেজটাতেই ফিডলার্স গ্রিন শুরু হয়। এবার যেটা হয় আমরা খুব একটা প্ল্যান করে এটা শুরু করিনি, আমরা অর্ক, দীপ, আমি, লুডো, we just used to hang out together at Ludo's house, Ruby house, and আমরা জাস্ট ওই দিনের শেষে we would drink and আমরা ভালো মজা করে ডিনার অর্ডার করতাম, খাওয়া দাওয়া হতো, আড্ডা হতো, দেখতে হতো, তারপর যে যার বাড়ি চলে যেতাম, তার মাঝে অবভিয়াসলি হতো। আর খুব ফ্রি ফ্লোয়িং ছিল, when we actually the whole thing started when we put together this medley, 6 songs medley, and it was actually a jam, and it was not really.
It was very spontaneous.
Very spontaneous.
এখন আমি মাঝে আমি শুনি, আজ সকালেও শুনছিলাম,
It was
I
like that.
really I feel a lot of peace, man.
And lot of you
lot of
feel
soul.
good about it.
A lot of
It's a
soul.
very feel good thing. So, and it was exactly that. There was a lot of feel good thing when we were playing together. There was no agenda really, and it just sounded nice and it sounded right.
Correct, that's very right.
Right, and we were not really
Very
trying
balanced,
to
very
make it happen.
calibrated.
It
Just clicked.
sounded nice.
Correct.
And then we kept doing it. তখনও কোনো agenda ছিল না, and then we put it together made a video, and then we released a video, and we started doing more songs. This sound became very interesting. and but they're all super talented. I mean, Jitanshu, that kind of playing, that how very melodious.
Absolutely.
Arko, that kind of singing, Arko, it's so versatile. I mean, at that point, I used to think we were doing magic, absolutely.
And you did a lot of shows overseas also, right?
Yes.
A lot of travels.
We traveled a lot. Yes, 10 years, almost 9 years.
Los Angeles একটা দেখছিলাম তোমাদের video YouTube.
And very happy traveling time. And আমরা ওরকম ছিল মানে মাসে অলমোস্ট আমরা 10-12 দিন আর কি আমরা মানে ডোমেস্টিক ট্রাভেলটা যেটা হতো মানে অলমোস্ট মানে ইন্ডিগো নিউ আস
এত ট্রাভেল
করতাম
রাইট
মজা
So did music help you during your rehabilitation or coming out of this process?
Absolutely. I remember something. The first treatment, I was in a treatment center for 6 months. And there was another guy who basically was an ex. He just went out and he's a filmmaker. So he came back to do a small docu. He was putting together a docu. And end of the docu, he wanted a song to be played. So jeta hoy ar ki, he wanted a happy spirited song to be. He told me sing a singer, but I kept digging and I realized I don't know any happy song. So I kept singing. He said, "Dude, this is not a happy song. Sing a happy." I said, "Dude, I don't know any happy song. What do you do?" So that is, the music was there. Yes, music was of course there.
Right.
And yes, rehabilitation center, 6 months there, I actually got back into playing. Otherwise, আবার এটাও ছিল আমি যখন ক্লিন আপ করে প্রথম 2000 সালে মানে ফার্স্ট টাইম আই গট দ্য মেসেজ অফ ইউ ক্যান অ্যাকচুয়ালি গেট রিড অফ এডিকশন বিকজ তার আগে আই বিলিভ যে আমার হলো না আই উড ডাই প্রবাবলি ডুইং দিস অ্যান্ড এটার কোনো বেরোবার রাস্তা নেই ওয়ান্স ইন এডিক্ট অলওয়েজ ইন এডিক্ট
Correct.
But 2000 এ যে টার্ন অ্যারাউন্ডটা করতে পারলাম and there was a possibility and there were NA meetings and AA meetings and I realized it's possible and then I went to meetings and I saw many members who were clean for like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years and I was fascinated. I was like এটা পয়সা সম্ভব এটা এটা কি করে হয় হেরোইন অ্যাডিকশন থেকে ক্লিন আপ করা যায় এটা তো আমি এটা while I was in it I thought this is it I'm going down so এবার ওইটা করার পরে আমার যেটা হলো ক্লিন আপ করার পরে না and also people would tell me there were feedbacks and inputs and I realized যে আমি 6 বছর গান শুনি
হ্যাঁ
6 বছর গান শুনি because I would get euphoric recalls of my favorite artists আমি যদি শুনি মানে say আমি Woodstock শুনছি আমার সঙ্গে everything was so related to my using thoughts and my using habits. It would make me depressed. It would make me think about going back. It will make me think about wrong places. I'll have a tendency to basically sit and sulk. I'll have a tendency. So I just awarely did not listen to music for 5 years, 6 years. I didn't.
That was tough.
Tough না গো মানে
বুঝতে পারিনি
আমি একটু শান্তি পেলাম আর কি মানে because going through that feeling and that thought was so taxing by then and staying clean মানে was so beautiful for the first time I ever experienced মানে আমার কাছে that was a better choice for me so তারপরে gradually then I again started and আর অ্যাকচুয়ালি যেটা হলো মানে আমি 2000 সালে আমি একটা ব্যান্ড আই ফর্মড আ ব্যান্ড উইথ আদার মেম্বার্স কাসিনস ডিভিশন বলে তো ওইখানে এবার ওটাতে আমি 2-2.5 বছর বাজালাম আর কি তারপরে আই কুইট এভরিথিং মানে আমি গানও শুনতাম না আমি বাজাতাম আমার কথা আর তখন যেটা হলো আমাকে আই হ্যাড টু রিয়েলি ফিগার আউট সামথিং অ্যাবাউট ওয়ার্ক বিকজ কাজের জায়গা তো আই হ্যাড টু রিয়েলি বিকজ অতটা গ্যাপ হয়ে গেছে তখন ক্যারিয়ারে তো কাজেও I had to focus a little and start a little bit of work and then I started Grinning Tree that's how it started.
তো এখান থেকে একটা জায়গায় আমরা আসি যেটা মানে what I really love about the work that Grinning Tree does is the film posters. Okay, and also the product posters. I mean recently তোমার Facebook থেকে আমি দেখলাম তোমরা জলের ওটাও করেছো জয় না জল ওটা জয় হ্যাঁ ওটাও I didn't know that because I've had so much of অনেকবারই খেয়েছি কিন্তু আমি জানতাম না ওটা তো নেক্সট টাইম when I bought it আমি শর্মিষ্ঠা বউকে বললাম যে I know the gentleman who designed it and it was such a proud feeling when I said that. তো এই যে ফিল্মের পোস্টারটা তুমি ডিজাইন করা শুরু করলে, ফিল্ম এডিটিং করা শুরু করলে, মাছ মিষ্টি মোর is one of the film which I've really enjoyed watching. Very different kind of a বাংলা সিনেমা. তো এদের এই যে কমিউনিটির মধ্যে তুমি কি করে ঢুকলে? মানে সৃজিত মুখার্জির কাজ করছো, সাথে কাজ করছো,
এগুলো মানে সবকটাই কিছুটা শুরু করেছি আমরা সবাই একসাথে, মানে মৈনাক এন্ড মি উই আর ফ্রেন্ডস, ভেরি গুড ফ্রেন্ডস। এখন একটু দেখা হয় না, কথা হয় না বলে, বাট যখন আমরা একসঙ্গে কাজ করছিলাম, আবার হয়তো কাজ করলে গেট ব্যাক দেয়, মানে we were very very close friends, and it was like, and I've always worked with friends, always. I know it has always been like I've only worked with friends. So Moinak has a very quirky hair, thinking in head, and because if you see his movies and his pattern, it's very interesting and very different from what.
Not very traditional, kind of
with youth and young, and and ওর প্রথম একটা ফিল্ম ছিল যেটা খুব মজা হয়েছিল আমাদের, আমরা বলে একটা ফিল্ম করেছিল, মানে
আচ্ছা,
ইফ ইউ ক্যান অ্যাকচুয়ালি সি, দেখো পারলে আর কি।
আচ্ছা,
মানে এটা
is it available on public domain?
কোথায় আমি ঠিক জানি না, মানে এটা রিলিজ করেছিলাম আমরা হলে। তোমার এটা ডিজিটালি, আমরা প্রথম ডিজিটালি শুট করেছিলাম, আমরা D55 এ শুট করেছিলাম।
আচ্ছা,
মানে তোমার মিনি ডিভি।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা,
and then we basically আমরা রিভার্স টেলিসিনেও করিনি, আমরা ওটাকে ডিজিটাল প্রজেকশন করেছিলাম, প্রজেক্টর নিয়ে গিয়ে হলে ফিজিক্যালি। ইট ওয়াজ ক্রেজি, মানে স্ক্রিনের উপরে প্রজেকশন, লিটারালি প্রজেকশন। সো ইট ওয়াজ রিয়েলি, এন্ড অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইট ওয়াজ লাইক রিলিজিং আ ফিচার ফিল্ম। I don't know how we did it, how we got the approval without the usual, following the usual protocol. তোমার এই নিতেশ শর্মা বলে একজন ছিল, he's a very good friend as well. He was the producer. Bangla Talkies bole or production house now. Fantastic one. He was very enterprising. He let us do what we wanted to do, and that was the first Moinak project. Actually, তুমি যদি পারো দেখো যে আমরা বলে একটা ফিল্ম, তখন ভালো স্টারকাস্ট ছিল, নীলাঞ্জনা ছিল, যিশু ছিল, পরম ছিল, মানে ইট ওয়াজ নাইস, অনন্যা চ্যাটার্জি ছিল। So that's how it started. মৈনাকের সঙ্গে তখন মৈনাক মানে প্রথমটাই পাবলিসিটি করলাম আমরা আইডিটা আমি করেছিলাম। That was my first film, Moinak's first film, and Moinak বলল তুই এডিট করবি কর।
তো শিখলে কোথা থেকে এগুলো? Have you ever been structured in
Not really. I've always had a knack for knowing software, so I've even designing, I've learned everything on my own, which is a very normal thing if you have the patience to go through it, because আমার হয়েছিল, আমি একটা মাল্টিমিডিয়া ইনস্টিটিউটে ঢুকেছিলাম, I lasted there for a month, and then you realize that it is basically the software, and if you see the তখন তো আর অত ইউটিউব ভিডিও ছিল না, তখন হেল্প টুলস ছিল। If see, it's all about knowing what you're trying to achieve from the software. So everything is really in your head.
End of the day, if you don't have that enthusiasm to
learn, the planning is in your head, be it design, be it edit.
Correct.
Editor tomar knowing that it's about knowing few tools. Designing the software will offer you few tools, but then you have to know what you want to do.
You need to have that visual ability ki tumi ki চাইছো, মানে start from the end আর কি।
সেটা ক্যাম্পেইন প্ল্যান হতে পারে বিজ্ঞাপনে, সেটা তোমার ফিল্মের এডিটটাও তো টেকনিক্যালি মাথায় তোমার।
তুমি কিভাবে ছবিটা দেখছো একদম ওইভাবে, মানে এক্সেলেন্ট আর কি। মানে কারণ তোমার প্রত্যেকটা ছবির পোস্টার তো আমি দেখেছি, তখন তো অত জানতাম না যে এর পেছনে তুমি এবং তোমার সাথে কখনো এরকম ভাবে এত ঘনিষ্ঠ আলাপ হবে, বাট ফেনোমেনাল। মানে এই তোমাদের সবারই একসাথে জার্নি and the rise, and as the things moved, the progressions, have people changed with success and fame?
Success বলবো না, দেখো যেটা হয়, মানে আমি এটা বুঝতে পারি, মানে তোমার
ইনোসেন্সটা কি চলে যায়, মানে ওই
দেখো আমি ইনোসেন্স চলে যায় বলবো না, পিপল গ্রো মানে people evolve. I would use that word,
right?
Change বলবো না, evolve. For good or for worse ও বলবো না, মানে মানে যেটা যেদিকে যাওয়ার দরকার সেদিকে যায়। মানে আমার সঙ্গে দীপ্তাংশুর এখন একটা ফল আউট হয়ে আছে, মানে I'm just saying this very openly, মানে I have nothing to hide, but I would really like to have him back in my life because he is such a super guy. এবার ও ভীষণ টাচি and ভীষণ sensitive, he's a very sensitive person. So I wish he'll understand someday. And Arko সঙ্গে আমার একটা massive fall out হয়েছিল, and now we are back. you know, and we both make sure বাবা আমরা ঝগড়া করি না। আমি লুট একসঙ্গে বাজাচ্ছি এখনো বাজাই আর কি, অর্কর সঙ্গে বাজানো হয়। এবারে এটাও ডিফিকাল্ট, 10 বছর 9 বছর 10 বছর মানে একসঙ্গে ঘর করা ইজ অলসো চ্যালেঞ্জিং আর কি, বুঝতে পারছি। 4 জন 4টে রকমের মাথা, 4 জন একসঙ্গে, it's like a marriage literally, and you know then at a point of time you get sick of each other and you want to just say, oh dude, let's all go our way, you know, just go. So I think that is what happened with us, and for a band I think 9 years is a good time. It's a good time.
Right.
So, and we had lots of fun. We played many gigs, and every gig was super. You know, we rocked actually every gig. You know, and that is what is important. You know, so we have had a really good time, and I think we have all evolved and nicely, and we have all learned, and good things have happened to us because of that 10 years of being together and travel and doing music together. It's a positive thing which has happened to all of us.
তো তুমি তো এত জায়গায় ট্রাভেল করেছো, মানে সবচেয়ে ভালো লাগার বা অনেক সময় হয় না একটা জায়গা হয় যেটা খুব নিজেকে কমফোর্টেবল ফিল করায়, এরকম কোন জায়গা আছে? You feel like going back, it makes you forget everything, makes you totally be at peace and makes you feel naked.
না, এটা মিউজিকের সঙ্গে মানে এই ট্রাভেলের সঙ্গে রিলেটেড নয়, বাট
যে কোনো ট্রাভেল, মিউজিকও বলবো না, যে কোনো। হ্যাঁ, আচ্ছা,
মানে তুমি অ্যাকচুয়ালি একদম অদ্ভুত একটা টাইমের প্রশ্নটা করলে। আমার যেটা হয়ে আছে হচ্ছে আমি মানে হয়তো in 10 days 15 days টাইম আমি I'm going to the hills. I'm going to stay there for almost 4-5 months.
আচ্ছা,
that's the plan.
আচ্ছা, বাহ।
So আমি একটা জায়গা অলরেডি কথা বলে রেখেছি আর কি।
আচ্ছা, লং টার্ম।
এবার ইভেন্চুয়ালি আমি হয়তো তোমার in couple of years I will want to
move there. Very nice.
So এখনো আমি শিওর না কোন পার্টে, মানে কার্চিয়াং হবে না দার্জিলিং হবে না সিকিম হবে,
ইভ্যালুয়েট করে যাচ্ছে।
হ্যাঁ, মানে তোমার I'm not sure yet, but আমি একটু রেকিটাও করবো এই কয়েকটা নেক্সট কাপল অফ ইয়ার্স। আমি 6 মাস গিয়ে 4 মাস গিয়ে থাকবো, একটু ঘুরে জায়গা দেখবো। হ্যাঁ,
বলো আমাকে।
একদম
I'm also continuously toying যে একটা পয়েন্টে গিয়ে লাইফে, এবার এখন এমন হয়ে গেছে লাইফে যে হার্ডকোর প্রফেশনাল যে কমার্শিয়াল যে আইটি যে একটা কাজ করি, ইনফ্যাক্ট দিস ইজ আই ক্যান অনলি ডু দ্যাট বিকজ আই ডু দিস।
আমারও তো তাই, মানে ইটস ডিফিকাল্ট টু আপ এন্ড লিভ, কিন্তু আপ এন্ড লিভ
মানে ওটা একটা সার্ভাইভাল মেজারস এর জন্য, মানে যেটা তুমি বললে যে that money is important and that money is required not for my luxury but there are a lot of things that I want to do, as philanthropy or as maybe social business where I don't need to মানে আমি অন্যের কাছে হাত পাততে হবে না আর কি, মানে সেটা ভুল হোক খারাপ হোক যাই হোক সেটা আমার
না। যেটা হয় মানে তুমি যদি রোজগারটা থাকে না, তুমি অনেকগুলো ইন্টারেস্টিং নিজের কাজ করতে পারবে,
নিজে এক্সপেরিমেন্ট করতে পারবে,
মানে হেল্পিং অফ পিপল অলসো, মানে পুরোটা মানে you can actually choose to do a lot of extra things which if you have money it allows you.
So hills your that's the next project and let's say you move to hills, okay, you decide okhane so design a Grinning Tree, you will run from there or
yes,
okay,
so I'll function Grinning Tree তুমি জিজ্ঞেস করছিলে, I'll function এবারে মানে যেটা হয় মানে I like little unconventional ideas আর কি, মানে আমি এখন অফিসে বলছি সবাইকে, তার মধ্যে half team is really excited, মানে I don't see any difficulty in running a setup from creating a setup there or এবার কলকাতা একটা টিম কাজ করছে, I can have a team in the hills as well, smaller team, and যখন রিক্রুট করবো ওটা বলি রিক্রুট করবো বেসিক্যালি,
and plus you will get a lot of talent from there also, no?
That's also local talent for sure.
I'm sure you heard of this gentleman called Sridhar Vembu bole, Zoho bole একটা কোম্পানি আছে, Zoho bole একটা কোম্পানি আছে, তোমার they are into software products, okay, so Sridhar Vembu started this company at USA te, and then last 10 years I think I'm under correction, he moved his headquarters to a small village in Tamil Nadu called Tenkasi. Okay, so his head office and headquartered in Tenkasi in Tamil Nadu, and he has almost I think 2,000 people in that village that is working. Class 10 বা 12 থেকে he recruits, okay, and he has created Zoho Academy, and that he trains people, and you can join. And that has always fascinated me. যে আজকে তো all we need is the internet and and a laptop and a workstation. তো সেটা এখানেই হোক কি যেখানেই হোক, when we are saying work from anywhere, it can also be work from a place of your choice, right? So in fact that's what I'm contemplating as well, because মানে কখনো কখনো এমন হয় যে আমি হয়তো 4-5 দিন শান্তিনিকেতনে চলে গেলাম, ওখান থেকে আর কি আছে, একটা ইমেল আছে আর ফোন করা,
absolutely a lot
আর
of
কেন আমি এখানে থাকবো, I don't need a specific.
No,
so that's something
see, actually Goa is functioning like that. A lot of Bombay folks are doing it from Goa. A lot of Delhi folks are doing it from the Himachal. They actually go for a month, couple of months, and work from there. So it is already started, and post pandemic this is pandemic taught us মানে work from home, the concept of it,
right.
But সব সময় যেটা ভীষণ কাজ করে তা নয়, কারণ having people on the floor and being together helps in a way.
Correct.
কয়েকটা ক্ষেত্রে কাজে লাগে, but also ওই রিমোটলি কাজ করাটা is absolutely doable. আর এটা আমাদের কাজ করে আর কি, it works.
Good. So we are almost towards the end. Any parting thoughts to people who are struggling from addiction, who are in the process of coming out, or they are struggling, anything that you would like to tell them?
Cleaning up is the first thing that is important. You have to clean up. It's a very damaging act otherwise. It doesn't really help. And tarpore it is about choosing a life which is simple, which is easy, which is quiet, which is positive. And I believe in all of those things today, and I like everything which is fall back on. I've started, I'm not successful. কিছু জিনিস আমার করা হয় না, আর সব আমি আস্তে আস্তে সবগুলোই করবো. That's why I want to go and live alone, on my own. I need to cook my own food, I need to wash my own clothes, I need to do my own things, do my own bed, and simple life, simple eating, simple life. That is something I think that is what the thing should be for everybody.
Right. Shamik, thank you so much for being on the show.
Lovely.
I loved it. I mean, অনেক কথা বলা আরো যেত, but ক্যামেরা রোল করে.
Troubled earth, I've been rolling since my birth.